Yes, Attorney Sabio, human rights groups have seemed to have found something that supports their claim. This administration has violated human rights when President Duterte had the candor, in fact, to admit that his only sin is extrajudicial killing. Now, how heavy or weighty is that pronouncement by the President in supporting the cases filed against him, such as the one at the International Criminal Court?
That pronouncement is really a confession of guilt. It is an added, it lends added credibility, to the statement of Edgar Matubato and Arturo Las Cañas that the President is the mastermind of this system of death squad killings since he was mayor of Davao. And based on the theory that I submitted to the ICC, that system has been continued by the President in the war on drugs. His recent statement confirms that fact, that he is the mastermind of the system of death squad killings. And his statement confirms my public assertion that there is no way that this government will ever investigate the President himself. Because based on his statement, he is the one responsible for this system of death squad killings happening in the country right now.
Yes, Attorney Savio, tell us about the ICC and how it behaves in these instances. How confident are you that it will in fact seriously consider the President's pronouncement on his supposed involvement in the EJ case? Now, is evidence said in the manner that Mr. Duterte said it even admissible in the International Criminal Court?
I maintain my view that the admission of the President is admissible because it constitutes a declaration against interest. No person will ever admit his crime if it is not true. The fact that he admits something that is against his interest, it means that he believes that what he is admitting is true. He has admitted, in fact, he has confessed to the crime of extrajudicial executions. And I think the ICC will consider this admission very seriously in considering the communication before it.
All right.
And the ICC has shown some very unorthodox and revolutionary actions in the past month or so, when it allowed the prosecutor to open a preliminary examination in the situation in Myanmar, which is very unorthodox because Myanmar is not a state party to the ICC. The jurisdiction was based on the fact that the mass deportation ended up in Bangladesh, which is a state party to the Rome Statute. How much more in this case, when the Philippines is clearly a state party? And even if there is a withdrawal, that withdrawal will not affect the proceedings in the ICC. The proceedings will continue, and I believe that we have a strong prima facie case against the President, especially if the evidence now before the ICC will be taken in conjunction with the recent admission of the President. I think that based on the overall evidence presented in the ICC, there is a strong prima facie case against the President. It will justify finding of a reasonable basis to open a preliminary investigation, hopefully.
The President's defenders are saying drug syndicates and neither the President nor the government is in fact involved in EJK. Do you think these claims are even valid to some point?
It would be valid if the President had no system of death squad killings, which began in Davao. The testimony of Edgar Matubato and Arturo Las Cañas is very clear that he is the mastermind of that system of death squad killings more than 30 years ago in Davao, and it is documented. And more than 1,400 deaths happened because of that system. And based on his pronouncements, he already admitted that he would continue the system in his war on drugs. His denial of anything, of any involvement, is ridiculous and laughable in the face of the mounting, the credible evidence coming from Edgar Matubato and Arturo Las Cañas. And based on his recent admission, he not only admitted the fact of the existence of the EJK, he also admitted his guilt when he underlined the fact that he is not liable for corruption. He can only be liable for the extrajudicial executions. That is as clear as daylight, that he is admitting his guilt in the extrajudicial executions. Ano pang gagawin natin dyan? Tapos na ang laban natin sa ICC. There is already a confession on the part of the person being held, being charged in the ICC. There is nothing more to present in the ICC. We simply have to present the fact that he already admitted something. He already confessed to his guilt.
Lastly, what can you tell us about the progress of the case against the President at the International Criminal Court, and how confident are you of getting the results in your favor?
So now we are still in the stage of preliminary examination. Now, ideally, the ICC is supposed to open a preliminary investigation within 6 months, and I'm hoping that probably this month or in the next few months, an investigation will open. I'm confident that the ICC will find reasonable basis to open an investigation because of the long pile of information available to it, especially the testimony of Edgar Tubato and Arturo Las Cañas and the previous case of Ernesto Abasola, which landed in the judicial record of the Supreme Court, where the Davao Death Squad was involved in the killings way back in December 2015. And where certain Ernesto Abasola was instructed by Bienvenido Laud to bury the corpses in the Laud Quarry, owned by Bienvenido Laud. Now, reasonable justification is defined as the sensible and reasonable justification for the reasonable belief that a crime has been committed within the jurisdiction of the ICC. I'm confident that in this case there is reasonable basis, especially in the light of the recent admission of the President himself. And take note that the admission recently made by the President comes after so many other admissions previously made by him. This admission culminates, no? The previous admissions made by the President, even when he was still mayor, when he was still a presidential candidate, and even after he became president. And this has not changed, no? In fact, he has boasted of what he has done in Davao. He boasted that it is his best practice, no, in suppressing crime. It is his secret in making Davao City the 9th safest city in the world. When he was appointed to be the crime czar by President GMA at that time, he recommended to the President in a public speech that the secret, the way to curb criminality is to kill suspected criminals. And that has been done by him for more than 20 years, or even 30 years. Now, this admission confirms my belief that there is no way that this system of death squad killings will ever be investigated by this government. And complementarity will have to set in. The ICC will have to exercise its jurisdiction because the crime in this case is not a purely internal matter of the Philippines. It rises to an international offense in which the international community has a concern or interest in its prosecution, investigation, no, in order to end impunity.
All right, let's leave it at that. Attorney Jude Sabio, thanks a lot for taking our call, sir.